Hey friends, welcome back to Belle's Library. It has been a really long time, a couple of months actually, since I've last made a bookish video. Life has been crazy and just the summer has been busy and I just kind of put it aside for a while. I have not even kept up reading as much as I normally do, but the stuff I have been reading has been sort of satisfying in a way, just because I have been just kind of reading stuff that that does require my brain to work a lot, but doesn't have to be super focused, okay? So I have been reading murder mysteries. That's pretty much it. Ever since the last video that I made for you guys in May. So I wanted to give an update on the stuff that I've been reading, because I've been reading some really fun stories, and just get back into the swing of things, hopefully. I miss all of my bookish friends. I haven't even been watching BookTube for weeks, and so I'm just, ready to get back into things. So I wanted to start off, there's actually two authors really that I've been reading or reading about in all of this time. The first one is Claudia Gray. I've been reading her series here on, I think she calls it the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney mystery series. So when I last talked to you guys, I talked about the murder of Mr. Wickham, and I think I've already given a review on that one. And then I ordered The Late Mrs. Willoughby, and then I pre-ordered, and it came out, and I read it right away, The Perils of Lady Catherine de Bourgh. So this author, if you have not yet seen that video where I did describe the murder of Mr. Wickham, Claudia Gray, she is kind of a surprise to me. So not somebody, if I would have read kind of her list of stuff that she's written, I probably wouldn't have actually picked something up by her had I not realized that she's writing Jane Austen novels. So before these, she has a ton of stories here that she has written, but a lot of them are like fantasy novels, graphic novels. She's written some Star Wars stories, the Firebird series, Spellcaster series, Evernight series, standalone, just a couple of standalones. So they're not, those other stories are not stories that I normally would pick up. And so when I just happened to be, I was in Barnes & Noble and I just happened to walk by this table where somebody had been looking at this, and then they just like left it there. And so I pick up, I'm like, Mr. Wickham, that's Pride and Prejudice. What is this? And so I grabbed it and bought it and loved it right away. So this author is taking the characters of Jane Austen and putting them in mystery settings. And then the sleuths are a young couple. They're not actually a couple yet, but they're going to be a couple. You can tell. The girl is Juliet. So she is the daughter of Catherine and Henry Tilney from Northanger Abbey. And then the son is Jonathan Darcy, and he is the son of Lizzie and Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. So made up characters. Obviously, these are not actually in Jane Austen's novels, but all of the original like romantic couple characters from all of her novels, they star in these books in different ways. And so then these young made up characters that this author has created, they are solving mysteries that are taking place in settings involving Jane Austen's characters, okay? The first book can be really confusing if you have not read Jane Austen's novels, just because she like throws all the characters in together. It's a lot, and I think that she probably was advised to back up a little bit, maybe, I don't know, but she definitely does back up in the second and third books, and you only get, a couple of couples in there, because trying to remember all of the couples and the backstories, and everybody's a mister and people have the same names, and it's kind of messy and can be overwhelming. But anyway, those second two I really enjoyed. I won't give too many spoilers in case you guys want to read them, but they basically take place in the locations that Jane Austen created with the characters that Jane Austen created and this young couple that Claudia Gray created to solve the mysteries. And in the meantime, they're also sort of falling in love. One thing that I really love about the character of Jonathan Darcy, and actually Juliet as well, the young, sleuths, Jonathan Darcy tends to have like some quirks. I think that she's trying to make, I don't have a lot of experience with autism, but I think that's kind of where this author is going, that maybe he is exhibiting things that we would now call autistic traits. And the way that he is respected, and just that his differences make him interesting and unique and all those things. Juliet, his fellow sleuth and friend, really respects those, and she doesn't even see them as, odd as much as just difference. Like, these are what make you who you are, Jonathan. And I really appreciate that, how she's kind of working that element in. It's not a huge thing throughout the story, but it's there. And just the gentleness with which that whole issue is handled, I just think is really sweet. I love that a lot. So I'm enjoying those. I wish she would put them out faster. I don't know when the next one is coming out, but I will be watching for it for sure. All right, and then I read the biography of Agatha Christie by Lucy Worsley, which set me on a path to be reading the novels of Agatha Christie. So I am a huge Agatha Christie fan, but up until the last couple of months, I had never actually read the works of Agatha Christie. I had just watched the TV series like over and over and over and over again. So all the Poirots with David Suchet, is that how you say it? I watched all of those and loved them. And then the Joan Hickson version of the Miss Marple shows from late 80s, the 80s and early 90s. I adore those. I have them on DVD, and I watch them a couple of times a year, several times a year. And I love them, and I have those stories just memorized. And so, but I had never read any of the books before. All right, so I read this biography of Agatha Christie by Lucy Worsley. It is probably the third or fourth biography that I have read of Agatha Christie. And I liked it okay. I think that she makes some assumptions that aren't realistic. And I think that she maybe sees Agatha in too much of a modern light. And when I was reading through this, I was just reminded of how I thought about Agatha Christie in the previous biographies that I've read of her, and how much she reminds me of my great-grandmother. So I had this great-grammy, Annabelle, and in my imagination, she was very prim and proper and sort of, snooty and maybe like critical and just she wanted things a certain, like, this is my imagination, right? She wanted things a certain way, and just kind of high maintenance, and so I don't know, that's just like my little kid perspective. And she passed away when I was like 22, and then my young woman perspective coupled with who I am. And so then I can kind of like add that all up together and be like, yeah, I can see kind of some personality traits there that I have inherited. The high maintenance one for sure. But anyway, that kind of reminded me of Agatha Christie and the way that I saw her. And so, like I said, the biographies that I've read before, and then now I've read, I think on number 4 of the stack of novels that I have by Agatha Christie. And I don't know, I'm not seeing what Worsley is saying here. And so I'll leave the link to my Goodreads down below. You guys can read more in detail about kind of my thoughts on that. But I think one of my biggest things that I was just kind of annoyed by is some of the assumptions she makes about what Agatha Christie is writing. Now here's, I'm not going to go into all of that, but what I want to go with that is, if you're not aware, her writings have been rewritten in the last, few years. They are taking her books, just like they did with Roald Dahl. I think they did so also with, who's the James Bond guy? You know what I'm talking about. They've rewritten the books to be, I think they call them sensitivity editors, have come in and edited them for sensitivity. And I feel like I just want to make like a whole whiny debate about that, because I think it's really bad to do that. But, I get the reasons why, I just don't agree with them. And so I don't know if like Lucy Worsley read these edited versions, and because it definitely tones down a lot of what we would consider to be, bigoted language and just bigoted points of view, and just like the class that Agatha Christie saw herself in. I think a lot of that was probably edited out. I actually found a copy of one of hers, The Body in the Library, that had been edited, and I bought it because the cover was so pretty. And as I'm reading, I'm like, this doesn't even sound like her, and like the other things that I've read. And so I've gone back and bought the vintage versions, and I'm like, yeah, this is her. So anyway, I was bugged by that book. But I don't really want to go into all of the details why, because I don't want a lot of hate in the comments. So you guys can go read my Goodreads if you want. Okay, so then this is the little stack of Agatha Christie's that I have been getting off of paperback swap so far. I read A Murder Is Announced. So these are all Miss Marples. These are, I just went ahead and bought like all my favorite stories to start with. So that is a kind of more modern, I think this is like a late 70s, early 80s cover here. And then I have found these really cool vintage covers. So this one's at Bertram's Hotel. And this one was printed, oh sorry, the glare, here we go. This one was printed in England, and they got the coolest covers. That thing in her hand is a candy chocolate, which kind of has to do with the story, but not really. And this one is A Sleeping Murderer. That cover is just crazy. Blows my mind. Okay, and then this is the one I'm on right now, and this is A Pocket Full of Rye. So these stories I'm all familiar with from watching the TV shows, but I'm finding that the stories are not exactly like the shows, of course, and they're much more simplified. And like, I want to say this, but this isn't a dig, but her writing is pretty juvenile, actually. It's nothing deep, and some of the sentences are like, you're almost like remembering like your 10 or 11-year-old self when you went through that phase and you like stapled paper together and wrote your own book, and it was just like 500 4-word sentences, that kind of thing. There's kind of that element to a lot of this writing that I've got so far here, reading of Agatha Christie, but it's not a bad thing. It is actually pretty cool that the writing was basic, but the mysteries are very complex and cool, right? Like, if I wouldn't have watched these TV shows 500 times, I don't think that I would have guessed the murderer on a lot of these. So her ability to put together an awesome mystery and include, really fun elements and funny elements and just and things to throw you off and all that kind of stuff, that's really fun. Even though, and then her sentence structure, super simple. Her, language, her vocabulary, super basic. I actually think that's cool, right? I think that's kind of a tribute, and maybe why the books have been read by so many for so long, because they're not hard, right? Anybody can read these things. You can read it while you're distracted. You can read it while you're super busy, like I've been doing this summer, and you can still get a lot out of them. So I'm loving those. I'm actually headed out today to do a couple of errands, and I'm going to try to sneak down to my favorite bookstore, which is about 30 miles or so south of me, and see if I can pick up some more copies, vintage copies of some of the ones that I don't have yet. So I would like to come across something that I have not seen the TV version of yet. I'm sure that they didn't make a TV version of every single book. I don't know, maybe they did. But the Poirot mysteries I have not watched for quite a while. So those ones I should be able to be somewhat surprised, at least through most of the story. But the Miss Marples I know like the back of my hand. So yeah. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been reading. Other stuff that's been going on this summer. Our daughter Christie graduated. She's working now at a coffee shop, which is like the coolest job, right? So she's liking that, and so I've been taking her to work, and I've been taking my son to play practice. He is going to be in a version of Much Ado About Nothing, but it is set like at an 80s prom, I guess. And he's going to be playing Braccio, but kind of like a nerdy version. I don't know. I think it's going to be really funny. But all summer long, I've been meaning to give him a haircut, and I have not got around to it. Well, now they want me to leave it, and then right before the play, cut it like a really weirdo 80s mullet. So that's going to be awesome. So I'll cut him a mullet, and then after the play, then I'll think about maybe making it normal, or we might make him suffer with it for a couple of weeks just for fun. Other than that, my oldest daughter Lindsay and I are planning a trip to England. So as you guys know, I took Stila in April. We had so much fun. Did I do an update? I can't remember if I did. an update on here or not, but if not, I will do so. But I think I did make a video about the books that I got from there, so I must have told you guys about that trip. But anyways, my oldest daughter Lindsay and I are going to go in September. We're going to go to the Jane Austen Festival in Bath, and then spend some time in Winchester. We're going to go to Stonehenge. So we're going to kind of do the same stuff that we did on Sela's trip, but this time I'm going to do some videos. I didn't do any videos when we were there just because it was Sela's first time, and I just kind of wanted to be in the moment, right? And she had made a commitment to not do a lot of, like, you know, photos and videos, and just kind of be in the moment and just enjoy it in her own mind and memory like it's 1999. And so I did that along with her for the most part. But this time Lindsay's just gonna be doing her own dorky thing, and so I thought that I would make some videos for you guys and show you some of the places that we like to go, maybe show you some of the bookshops that Sela and I went into, and just kind of take you along on my trip. So you guys can be looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, I'm just chilling out here in Northwest Arkansas, reading my books, doing my stuff. So yeah, have a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.